Module 2, which is feasibility studies and business plan. I understand that yesterday you have done your entrepreneurship and skills acquisition. So now that you have been equipped with those skills, the entrepreneurship skills, today we will be looking at the feasibility study and business plan. And also, you have done your pre-test. If you have done your pre-test, you show us your scores. Let us see how far
you have been able to understand feasibility study and business plan.
So if you have done yours, please post your score so that we can see. Amadu had 70. That's interesting. Is there any other one who has done the pre-test? I will take it that most of you are busy doing the pre-test. It is scheduled for 10 minutes and we are almost 12 minutes away from that time. Well, if it's only Amadu that have been able to do the test and has scored 70, 70 is an A, which means Amadu understands feasibility study and business plan. But we will have to continue these things are in detail. And I would like to know that you are actually participating and you are listening. So you may bring up your reactions, questions, and whatever that you have so that it will make it engaging and it will be more of a conversation than just, so like you can see on the screen, feasibility study and business plan. So we'll do section 1, which is feasibility study, and then we'll go to the section 2, which will be business plan. Section 1, feasibility study. Now, this is another pre-test to do for me. You tell us what is a feasibility study. You differentiate between feasibility study and a business plan. And then you tell us what are the reasons why you should do a feasibility study. Can anyone tell us what is a feasibility study? In fact, all of you can tell us, every participant can tell us what is a feasibility study, and also to differentiate feasibility study and a business plan, and what are the reasons why you should, because I know that each and every one of you here are businessmen already, and now you want to do business. So what are the reasons why you should do a feasibility study for business? Right? Are there reactions coming in? I'm waiting for your reaction. Even if you don't know what a feasibility study is, you should differentiate a feasibility study and a business plan. And if you cannot do that, you should be able to tell us what are the reasons why you should do a feasibility study. Okay, I can see Dr. Amadu has reacted. Thank you very much. This is beautiful. Thank you very much, Dr. Amadu. Now, since I'm not getting any other reaction, we'll continue. The outline for this study, we have 4 of them. One is feasibility study and a feasible business. There are so many businesses, but we will know which is a feasible business. Businesses are running, but we'll know if the business is feasible or not. And then we'll look at the feasibility study. We'll look at feasibility study, its importance and shortcomings. We'll also look at how to go about a feasibility study. That's number 3. And number 4, we'll look at the components of feasibility study. Now, a feasibility study is an analysis of the viability of an idea. You have a business idea, but is the business viable? Cash flow? Those are the things that you will need to consider. So for a feasibility study, you will have to do the analysis of what are the risks and all that. So when you do all those analysis, we will say that brings us to the definition of feasibility study, which is an analysis of the viability of an idea. It focuses on helping answer the essential question. What is the essential question? Should we proceed with the proposed project idea? You have an idea, but the feasibility study will help you to know if you should proceed with the proposed project idea. And feasibility study also looks at the viability of an idea with an emphasis on identifying potential problems and attempts to answer one main question: will the idea work, and should you proceed with it? For instance, you want to produce a biro, and you want to produce a biro, you first of all identify the problems that the biro cannot be produced. Then if you are able to strike out or resolve those problems, then you are good to go. But if you cannot solve the problems, relax on it. So when you have a business, you have the viability of an idea with emphasis on identifying potential problems. And then you will know if the idea will work and if you should proceed with it. That will take us business. We have seen feasibility study. Now we'll see a feasible business. And we say that a feasible business, where the business will meet the goals of the founder. When you have a feasible business, it should meet the goals, cash flow and profits. If adequate cash flow, then it is not a feasible business. It should be able to withstand the risks it will encounter. There are so many risks that businesses encounter. Every feasible business should be able to withstand the risks that it will encounter. And every feasible business will remain viable in the long term. If the business that you have is not viable in the long term, it means you are planning to fold up in the short term, and that is not a feasible business. So for you to have a feasible business, once again, a feasible business is one where the business will generate adequate cash flow and profit, withstand the risks it will encounter, remain viable in the long term, and meet the goals of the founders. That will bring us with a business idea, should conduct a feasibility study. If you have a business idea, you should conduct a feasibility study. Why do you conduct a feasibility study? To determine the viability of their idea before proceeding with the development of a business. Now we are going to look at feasibility studies Sorry about that. So, like I was saying, that you should know your feasibility study will address where and how the business will operate. That is why you need a feasibility study. And it will provide you in-depth details about the business to determine if and how it can succeed. When you have a business idea, without the feasibility studies, you cannot know if the business can succeed. You have the capital, you have the idea, you go into the business, you don't even know, you have not done your feasibility study, and then in the end, it crashes, you begin to blame your village people. That is not how to go about any business. As you have learned the skills of entrepreneur, now you conduct a feasibility study of a business for your business idea. And when you do that, it will help you to know where and how the business will operate. They will provide in-depth details about the business to determine if and how it can succeed. Feasibility study serves as a valuable tool for developing a winning business plan. Every time people ask you, get us a business plan, get us a business plan. But most times it's usually difficult for people to generate a business plan. Why? Because they usually have no feasibility study. And feasibility studies can be used in many ways, but primarily it focuses on proposed business venture. As we go further, we will look at some of the ways feasibility study can be used. I told you that we are going to look at the objectives of feasibility study. One of the objectives of feasibility study is raise funding. You need your investors to know, you need the banks, people who you take loan from, you need them to know about your business. And then you too, you want to impute some of your monies. That is where you need a feasibility study. The objective is raise funding and then awarding bodies, NISA loan, whatever grant they want to give, you need to satisfy the requirement of grant awarding bodies. Then your directors, you need to satisfy the directors that the project is viable. There is no way you can come up and say you have a business idea, you present your business idea. Your directors must know if the project is viable. Another objective is that it determines the optimum facility mix to maximize revenue. Why are you into business? Why do you want to do business? You identify a problem, you want to help the people, but in the end, you have to maximize revenue. The feasibility study will help you to determine the optimum facility mix to maximize revenue. Your facility mix. For instance, you are into a business that requires you to use labor. You need a number of people that can do the work. For instance, if you're a peasant farmer somewhere in far in Benue, for instance, and then your target audience are the locals. If the locals are your target audience, you may not need some gadgets for your business transactions. So you need optimum facility mix to maximize revenue so that you don't go spend on of your facilities that are not key in the business. And the feasibility study is going to ensure that all parties agree on the key elements of a project. Because the feasibility study have already identified the key element, and therefore It will ensure that all parties agree on the key element of a project. Feasibility study, another objective it does, it forms the basis for initial market and project planning. You know the initial market, and you also have a good plan for your project. And in some cases, it provides the argument for business closure or change of use application and planning appeal. Like I told you before, that when we go further, we'll tell you about another importance of feasibility study. This is another way feasibility study can be used. Provide the argument for business closure or change of use application and plan appeals. Now, when you do your feasibility study, the end result for a feasibility study therefore should be statement of revenue and expenditure for the first 5 years of the project, clearly showing the links between markets and the forecast. When you have this statement of revenue and expenditure, then you will have your balance sheet, cash flow forecast, and estimate of project value upon completion. When you do a feasibility study, in the end, you must have your statement of revenue and expenditure for the first 5 years of the project. Because when you do only for 1 year, it may not be able to run for 1 year and be established. So 5 years, you do the first 5 revenue and expenditure of the project, so that you can see the links between the market and the forecast. Shortcomings of feasibility studies. One of the shortcomings is overestimated market potential. Most times when people do business, they do overestimated market potentials. They may have say they want to go into farming, and then they tell people that, oh, everybody buys food, so it's going to market well. That's part of the shortcomings. Underestimated competition. Wow, nobody is cultivating this in this area. When I start cultivating, I will make lots of money. People will buy. But you have other competitors who are ready to sell at a minimum amount. Plant capacities not capable with market size. That's another shortcoming. Another shortcoming is underestimated importance of management and manpower skills. Say, anybody can do it now. Anybody can do it. Let's just hire any hands. But you need to know that management and manpower skills are of great importance. That is the reason why they said at 65, at 60, you should retire, because your manpower skills and your management skills may have dwindled. Then your market projection based on insufficient data. You are not aware of who else supplies it. You don't even know your competitors. You don't even know how well it sells in the market, the class of people to use it and all that. So when you don't have all those kind of data, your market projection will have problem. And that's another shortcoming of feasibility study. Another shortcoming is overestimated availability of infrastructure and other local services. Because you want to cultivate your land, or because you want to go into production of a biro, or you want to go into production of a paint or something else, you felt like, okay, anywhere you can situate your business, you need a feasibility study to do that. But feasibility study may tell you that anywhere you can do your business, you can have that, and then your services are readily available. But when you go into the business, these things are not always the same. The mathematics is not usually straight. So these are the shortcomings of feasibility studies. Now let's look at the importance. Most times people develop business plan, but without them having a feasibility study. And then you see that the business plan fails. Why does this happen? Because they don't have feasibility study. So feasibility study serves as a solid foundation for developing your business plan. The information that you gather and present in your feasibility study will help you to serve as a solid foundation for developing your business plan. It will list in detail all the things you need to make the business work. It will help you identify logistical and other business related problems and solutions. It will also help you to develop marketing strategies to convince a bank or investor that your business is worth considering as an investment. That is some of the importance of having a feasibility study, so that the information that you gather and present in them will help you in all the listed. Now, I told you that we'll look at how to go about the feasibility study. Before you begin writing your feasibility study, this is what I call the HWW. You need to identify your HWW. What is your HWW? H for how, W for where, and the other W for whom. You have a product or you have a service you want to sell. How are you going to sell it? How do you intend to sell it? Where do you intend to sell it? And to whom do you intend to sell it? Because if you have a business idea and then you don't know how to go about your feasibility study, this is how to go about it. You will have to identify how to sell it, your service or product. You will need to identify where to sell your service or product. You will need to identify whom you intend to sell your service or product. Then you will also assess your competition. Who else is doing what I'm doing? Who is doing the kind of things I'm doing? You assess your competition to know if your competition will help you, because we looked at that in the previous slide, that underestimated competition is one of the shortcomings of feasibility study. So you need to thoroughly assess your competition so that you can have a good feasibility study. Then you have to figure out how much money you need to start your business and keep it running until it is established. Remember, in slide 10, we talked about for the first 5 years, you need to have a project, a statement of expenditure and your revenue for the first 5 years. So when you figure out how much money you need to start your business and keep it running until it is established, those are three things: to start your business, keep it running till it is what? Established. So you need to know these things. And this is how to go about feasibility study. Now, before you do your feasibility study, you will have to do a pre-feasibility study. It's a 50-50% chance, but it is very good to go to do a pre-feasibility study before you go about the main feasibility study. It will help you a lot. Because before you proceed with a full-blown feasibility study, you may want to do some pre-feasibility analysis of your own. Because if you find out earlier on that a business idea is not feasible, it will save you time and money. You want to go into business, you begin to invest, you hire the consultant, you write your plan, you print the documents, you buy some other things, pre-operational expenses, and then in the end, the business is not feasible. At that time, it becomes a problem. That is when you begin to blame your village people. And when you do that, it is not okay. So, pre-feasibility study may be conducted first to help sort out relevant scenarios. And before proceeding with that, you do a pre-feasibility analysis of your own. Because when you find out, it will save you time and money. And if the finding lead you to proceed with the feasibility study, your work may have resolved some basic issues. And when your work has resolved some basic issues, you may need a consultant who will help you with the pre-feasibility study. But you should be involved so that you will know how business development issues are. It gives you the opportunity to understand some of the issues of business development. I told you that we are going to look at components of a feasibility study. When you have a feasibility study, or when you want to do a feasibility study, you will have to describe the business, the product or service to be offered, and how they will be delivered. You will have to describe it in the feasibility study. Then you go on to do your market feasibility. Market feasibility includes a description of the industry. You describe the industry, you know what is going on in the industry, and then you tell us about the current market in your feasibility study. What is the current market, the global current market, and the national current market? You also write about the anticipated future market potential, your competition, sales projection, potential buyers. These services that you are bringing, this product that you are about to bring up, who are the potential buyers? In the next 10 years, what will happen to the market? Who are your competitors? So these are some of the market feasibilities that you will have to do. Then another component is technical feasibility. Details how you will deliver a product or service. That is materials, labor, transportation, where your business will be located, technology needed, and the likes of them. These are the things under fixed assets, raw materials, and so on, including your salaries and wages. Then your financial feasibility. Projects, how much startup capital is needed. Sources of capital, return on investment. You need to project how much startup capital is needed. Remember, we talked about where we said that you need to project how much to start with your business, how much you need to keep it running until it is what established. So your financial feasibility will help you to project how much startup capital is needed. Then you will also know the source of your capital. Is it loans? Is it savings? Is it grant? And then you would need to know your returns on investment. Then we also have organizational Feasibility. This defines the legal and corporate structure. It defines the legal and corporate structure of the business. It may also include professional background information about the founders and what skills they can contribute to the business. When you have a business and you do the feasibility study, one of the components is to tell whoever you're presenting your feasibility study to see the corporate structure of the business. You write their qualifications and their experience of the founders and the people who are going to be in your corporate structure. Then you write your conclusions. Conclusion discusses how the business may succeed. Be honest in your assessment because investors won't just look at your conclusion. You just come and then you put up your business, your assessment, and then you say it's going to make a lot of money. But they will not just look at your conclusion because they too also may have the same kind of business around available. They have seen it and then they know that it is not viable, but you gave them a business and then your conclusion said it's viable. They will need to see. So they will look at the data, the sufficient data that you have gathered, and will question your conclusion if they are unrealistic. So you will need to be honest with your assessment. You don't just go type paper and then you present to your investors. You will need to be honest with your assessment. You do your assessment thoroughly. You get a consultant. You people do the pre-feasibility studies. And when you have identified that the business can work, the idea can work, then you go on to conduct a proper feasibility study. Market analysis. For every feasibility study, you will have market analysis. From the market study, the following should be known. Your target population. Who are your target population? Your market segmentation. You will need to know. Is this product or services for only male or female? Is this product or services for only the mid-class? Is this product or services for a particular age? For instance, Cowbear was going into production of sachet milk, the small sachet, while other big companies like Friesland, they were not even doing it while they were producing peak milk and 3 Crown. They didn't even go into sachet. But when Cowbear came, they did a sachet and it became a great market for them. And that was for a particular class. But Friesland was doing for the mid-class and the others. They forgot about the low. But when Cowbear took it up, they had a good sales. And before that, they must have done their market analysis, which means you too is supposed to do that market analysis so that you know your market segmentation. Also, for instance, if somebody is going into a business of bourbon and he opens a barber shop, definitely most of their marketing will be for the male. And so you need to know about the market segmentation. So your market analysis will show that. And it will also show target market segment strategy. You will have to know your target market segment strategy. And also your market analysis, the market study, will show competitor analysis. How many of them? How many persons are into this business? How well have they tried? And who are the major competitors? You will have to know them. Then you will also show your competition and buying patterns. This is what we call SWOT. Your strength, weakness. S is for strength, SWOT. W, weakness. And O, opportunities. Then C, challenges. Your market analysis should show all this. Technical analysis. Like we talked about the components of feasibility study, we are looking at technical analysis. One of the things we talked about is location. You get the location. Number two, fixed assets and equipment. You present it in this form, in a tabular form. Serial number, the types of fixed assets and equipment that you need, your plant, properties, and equipment, the number of them that you require, the cost per unit, and then the total amount. This will help you to get a total so that when you are drawing out your financial analysis, it's easy for you to bring them down. You will need to know your supplier and your suppliers. You need to know your personal plan. You need to have it down. Your personnel plan, and your personnel plan, the positions, the qualification and experience, the numbers of these positions that you need, their salary per month and their annual salary. Remember that your projection is for the first 5 years. So you will need to know what to keep it running until it is established. How many personnel do you intend to have? What positions? What's their qualification and experience? How many of them do you need in a particular position? How much are you paying them monthly? And how much are you paying them annually? You will need to put all that down. And then you also need your raw materials. And when you have your raw materials, you should make sure your raw materials will be for a period of 2 months. You need to know which raw material you buy for the first 2 months. Type of the raw material that you need for your production or for your services. Quantities for 2 months, the quantities that will serve you for 2 months. For instance, you are going into the service of hair making for female. And then while you are doing that, you also saw that you will need a dryer, you will need all these. Those are your fixed assets and equipment. But what about your raw materials? What about the things that you need for these services to go on? Or you are into agriculture, you need your seedlings, your yam seedlings for 2 months. What quantities do you need? Then you know the cost. Then also your source of raw materials, local or foreign. Where do you get your raw materials from? What are your sources? You will need to know all that in your feasibility study. So these are some of the components of the feasibility study. Then your financial analysis, just like I told you, when you do your technical analysis, it becomes easy for you to do your financial analysis. One of the things under financial analysis is project investment cost. You have, in your technical analysis, you already done your location, your fixed assets and equipment, you have already put that down. So now you come and tell us how much it costs. You write it down. You come about your raw materials for 2 months. What's the cost of your raw materials for 2 months? Your personnel, their salaries and wages for 3 months. Your pre-operational expenses. You also get that, and then you put your total. so that your investors can clearly see your financial analysis. Then another thing you have to do in your financial analysis is your sales projection. And you do that for 1 year. Your sales projection, you do that for 1 year, then you will know for the subsequent years. Service provided, number of garments, price per unit, total sales, and your annual sales. How much have you made in the year? So this is how it comes in a tabular form. Then your organizational analysis. This involves questions such as whether the system has enough support to be implemented successfully, whether it brings an excessive amount of change, or whether the organization is changing too rapidly to absorb it. So these are some of the review questions which you will do for us. And also those of you who were unable to do the pre-test from the first questions, the one that was sent in the Google form, I can see that some people have done that and your scores are impressive. Apart from, I can see Ogudu Unyoma, okay, Christian Eze 80, impressive. Annette 90, Daniel 70, Okpara 50, Unyoma 100, Luke 80, Pauline 70, Charles 100, Francis 100, Husseini 100, so thank you very much, those of you who have done the feasibility study and business plan quiz. Now, these are some of the review questions. Should every business have a feasibility plan? What is the relevance and importance of a feasibility plan? From the lesson, which aspect of the feasibility plan can you prepare? Which aspect can you prepare? For which aspect will you require help of others? So if you can answer these questions, it will help you to know if you can prepare a feasibility plan and how easy it will be for you. So thank you very much. We'll take a break now. And for those of you who didn't join us from the beginning, I'll take you to the earlier slide, which is the third slide, so that you see the pre-test question that we have. And if you can do it, you show us your reactions. 3 of them. 1 is what is a feasibility study. 2, differentiate feasibility study from a business plan. 3, what are the reasons why we should do a feasibility study? You do that, and then the review question. Thank you very much. We'll take a break now, and I'll join you shortly. Thank you. Welcome back from the break session. Now we'll start section 2, which is business plan. Every business plan, these are the things that we are going to see while we discuss business plan. Executive summary, business description and mission statement, business concept and strategy, value preposition, market summary and competition, competitive advantage, SWOT, risk, resource planning and team, then financial projection. In your business plan, strategies, marketing, innovations, performance, competition, you have to put all that together in your business plan. And the first thing every investor see in a business plan is your executive summary. Now, what's an executive summary? This is an overview of a larger document or research. So for a business, usually you need to write the others and come back to your executive summary, because this presents what? An overview of the larger document. And it's usually the first thing the reader sees. So for every business plan, while you are preparing to write, it is important to keep in mind to whom you are writing your summary. Your audience may not be versed in technical language of your profession. So you need to keep the technicality simple. They may not be versed in the technicalities of your profession. So you only focus main on specific business needs. You focus on specific business needs. Now, some of the things that executive summary addresses, it addresses these main points. One is what? Purpose. What is the point of your business? What is the purpose of your business? You need to know that. Are you trying to influence management? You will need to know that. Are you trying to make a change in which organization? In which sector? Is it in food security? Is it in the hospital? What are you trying? What's your business? What's the purpose of your business? So you need to make sure that you have a purpose when writing an executive summary. You need to have a purpose. Then another thing is problems. In your executive, and why are you where you are? You're improved. Then result of your analysis. Your result of your analysis. What did you find while researching the issue? What methods do you use? How do you know the results are valid, reliable, and credible? Then you have to have your recommendation. So when you do that, you will move from your executive summary, you put up a good executive summary. It also requires a help of a consultant, and you do it with a consultant so that it will be an opportunity for you to know some of the issues in business development. Now, the next thing that you do after your executive summary is your business description and the mission statement. You describe the business. What are you trying to do? What is your business? You describe it. And then you also write the mission statement. You state your company's long-term mission. What are you trying to, what's the mission? Are you trying to be the supplier of yam in Nigeria? Are you trying to be a supplier of yam or the export and import of yam, and for how long? So you need to have your mission statement. And when you are doing that, try to use words that will help you direct the growth of your company, but be as concise as possible. Not writing too many things, so your mission statement can be comprehensible, and then it should help you direct the growth of your company. Then business concept, strategy, and value preposition. You need to summarize the concept that you're going to use, the strategy which your business is based, and the key technology which your business is based. Integrity, quality, speed, cost, all that you will need to make sure that your business concept, your strategy, and the value that you are proposing is all highlighted. But you make sure that they are summarized as possible. Market summary and competition. You will need to summarize your market in the past, who have been into this business. What is the sales of the business? What is the intended, what is the sale of the business, the current sale of the business? What is the worth of this business? How much is the industry? And then you need to tell the people what is the projection? How many percentage will this business grow in the next 5 years? Like pharmaceuticals grow 1.3% annually, and they are over $1.9 billion industry. So when you do that kind of summary, you put it in your market summary and then your competition. You tell us who are your competitors, your major competitors. So you review those changes in market share, the leadership, players, the market shift, cost, pricing, or competitions that provide the opportunity for your company's success. Is what you are providing going to be able to substitute for what they have in the market already? If I'm producing a soap, can it be a substitute for Dettol? Can it be a substitute for any other soap at all? So you need to have this market summary and then your competition, so that it becomes easy for you to have a good business plan. Then your competitive advantage. What do you have that your competitors may not have? Unique resources and core competencies that are difficult to replicate or imitate. Adaptation and flexibility. I gave you an instance of cowbell. Till today, they are the top selling sachet. Though peak milk started, but the class that buys peak milk are different. Those who buy sachet milk, you can find them everywhere. Everybody buys it. So that's competitive advantage. When they went into producing milk, powdered milk, and all that, what advantage do they have? They were making it in 400 gram. They were making it in tin. They were making it they were making evaporated milk, but they were not standing a chance. They were not known until they were able to bring about the sachet. Now they are popular in the market. So you need to know what are the unique resources and core competencies that are difficult to replicate or imitate. So over a time, they are still standing the test of time. So you will need to have your competitive advantage. Then SWOT. SWOT, just like we see when we're doing the other one, when we're doing a feasibility study, we saw SWOT. strength, weakness, opportunities, and then challenges. It is still the same thing here. S is for strength, W weakness, O opportunities, while T is for threat. So you need to identify your strength, your weakness, your opportunities, and then your threat. Do your SWOT analysis. Afterwards, then you go into your risk. Summarize the risks of the proposed project and how they will be addressed. Your investors need to know. They will have to see the risks that your proposed project will have and how they will be addressed. You have a business, there's a risk, but you need to know how they will be addressed. So after your SWOT analysis, you need to identify your risk. So after you have written about your risk, then you go into your resource planning. You go into your resource planning. That's on the next slide. The technology that you'll be using, the finances, your distribution, your promotion, your products, services, all your resources, you will need to plan them. What technology are you going to be using? What finances is coming in? What is your mode of distribution? What about your promotion, your publicity? What about your products? What products do you have? What are your services that you are rendering? So all this resource planning will come up. Then after your resource planning, you write about your team. You write about your team. The team, you list the CEO. After you have listed the CEO and key management by name. So you include previous accomplishment to show that they are people with a record of success. Summarize number of years of experience in this field. That is the particular business field that you have. You summarize the number of years of experience that they have in the field. Remember when we were doing feasibility study, we talked about where you have your technical analysis, your personnel. So, and then we said that while you do a feasibility study, it will help for a good foundation for your business plan. And now we are talking about business plan. So this is part of your technical analysis. After you have done your technical analysis, you can now bring them in. You list CEO and key management by name. Then the accomplishment that they have had, you put them down so that people will know that the team that you are bringing on this business are people with a record of success. You summarize number of years of experience in this field, in the field of the business you are putting on, because there's no point of you starting up an agri-business and then you are going into the medical field to bring your team. There's no point for you going into agriculture post-harvest processing, and then you are going into bringing somebody who is into only cultivation or into export. So you will need to list them by their names. So your team is a very essential part of your business plan. Then financial projection. Business. outline a high-level financial plan that defines your financial model and pricing assumptions. So your financial projection is what is going to tell us that the tuber of yam sale is at so amount, and when you produce it, when you bring out your produce, this is how you are going to sell it. And then you put all that down. So those are your pricing assumption, and then your financial. For every business plan, this is how the content looks like. One, your executive summary, your company description, product and service description. Then you do your market plan. Under your market plan, you have the SWOT analysis. Remember what I told you SWOT stands for? Strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Under your market plan, you have competitor data collection. How many people are into this business, that this is your business idea? How many people are doing the business? And how well have they thrived? Then your competitive analysis, your marketing expenses strategy, your transport, your distribution, all those things. You need to know how much are you going to spend for your marketing expenses. Your publicity is also part of your marketing expenses, your promotions, your your transport, your expenditures. So you need to know all these expenses. Then your pricing strategy. What pricing strategy do you have? How is it that your pricing strategy is going to be effective? So this is part of the content of every business plan. So we have about 7 of them, which you have as displayed on the screen. Then now the next thing we'll go into is the cash flow forecast. To have for every viable business, viable business needs. So the cash flow records money flowing in and out of the business. That is different from profit. So your cash flow forecast is one essential thing that you will need to have in a business plan. Why do you do cash flow forecast? It will show the investors you are profitable, and then it will allow you to forecast profitability. Every business that you want to do, you want to maximize revenue, you want to generate profit. So your investors need to know that your business is profitable, and then you yourself, you also know that your forecast is profitability. And then it will help you to identify areas where the company could improve, and it will also identify potential problems. That is why you need your cash flow forecast. You will need to show the investors that you are efficient. We want to give you money. The investors want to give you money. How does it flow? They will need to know all that. So it is a cash flow that helps you, and it is a cash flow that makes the investors to know that you are efficient. And then it also shows the customer and supplier you will still be around next year. Because if your cash flow, if there's no cash flow in your business, you may not survive the business. So when you do your cash flow forecast, it will show customers and suppliers, especially your suppliers, that you will be around next year. So that brings us to the next slide, cash flow forecast assumptions. When you do your cash flow forecast, projections must be tied to valid and logical assumptions. You don't go make any assumptions that you want to make when you are doing your cash flow forecast. You don't make any assumptions. It must be valid. You need to understand, see the market data, and then you know that this cash flow forecast is valid. Then the assumption needs to be consistent with the business plan. It needs to be consistent with the business plan. Your financial projection needs to be consistent with the assumptions. And then you need to be thorough on all projected costs. You need to be thorough. And you need to know that there is no standard format for a type of business. There's no standard format for a type of business. You cannot say this is the format you use for agricultural, agribusiness. This is the format you use for manufacturing and all that. There is no standard format. So you need to be thorough on all projected costs. Let's look at some definitions in business plan. One of the first thing that we're going to see is income. This is money that has come into the business, and it includes initial capital, the money to the money received from loans, and money received from sales of fixed asset. You buy a land, and then you sell it. That is money received from fixed asset, and so on. Then let's look at another definition, expenditure. As you have the business, there are so many things that you have to buy. These are money that are spent during normal activity of the business. During normal activity of the business, emphasis, normal activities of the business. And it can include payment for expenses, e.g., petrol, wages, your electricity, and your utilities. Then purchases of stock, the stock that you are using to resale, the stock that you bought for resale. So these are your expenditures. Then you have, this is the layout for your, this is the layout for your cash flow. And you see that it's broken down into segments. You can see that it's broken down into segments. And segments of time, January and February. Remember what we talked about? You need to do 2 months projection of your raw materials and all that. This is one of the instances. So income, remember when we talked about income? The income that you have from sales and the income that you have from loans are your total income. So this first section, it records your what? The money that comes into the business. The income is heading. So sales, money gained through the sale of goods and services, money received from third party, require payment plus interest, total flow of income into the business, just as we discussed earlier under definitions. Then your expenditure. This is the second session, records the expenditure made by the business during each segment of time. Your purchases and then your wages. How much are you paying your staff? How much your team? How much are you paying them? And then your purchases. Then you come and then you put all of them together. I hope you can see how the layout is. So the final session is where the calculations are made. The business need to see if there has been a greater outflow than inflow of money. So you have your opening balance, you have your opening balance. I want you to see that. Opening balance, that was the money that's available within bank cash account at the beginning of the time period. Then you have total inflow and outflow. So this is the layout. Opening balance as at January was 300. Total income 1,600. Total expenditure 1,200. So you do your subtraction, you have 400. Closing balance was 700. So as at January, the closing balance will be the opening balance of February, which you have 700. Thank you very much. And I hope that this lecture has been of great importance. I wish you well in your feasibility study and your business plan. Once again, I'm Telvin Inalegu. Thank you. Comments, questions? Is broken down into segments. You can see that it's broken down into segments and segments of time, January and February. Remember when we talked about you need to do 2 months projection of your raw materials and all that. This is one of the instances. So income, remember when we talked about income? Happiness. Any questions?
Oh no.
Any questions, comments? Pauline. Dr. Amadu. Any reactions, questions, and comments?
Hello?
Yes. Is that Pauline?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me? My question
Yes.
is under financial analysis. Can you tell me more on financial analysis?
Financial
I don't
analysis.
understand that part.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, your financial analysis, if you do your technical analysis, your location, your fixed assets and equipment, your salaries and wages, all the things that you need to spend money on. When you know all that, then you bring them to your financial analysis. If you, maybe I may have to go back to the slide to show you, that is under feasibility study. So under that feasibility study, where you do your technical analysis, it is what gives you way to financial analysis. And then it allows you to make your projection per year. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Okay.
It don't seem to. Does it answer your question, Pauline? Okay, Daniel. It seems okay. Okay. So thank you very much. And since there is no any further question, I'll be waiting to see your reactions and answers to those questions.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thanks, Saina Legu. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. Led us in some very fruitful deliberation this morning. I hope the class didn't hear much from you. I hope you were carried along and you understood everything that we discussed this morning. Seeing that there are no questions, I want to assume that we're all satisfied with the day's proceedings. So just to round up the class and thank Mr. Enalegu for being a part of our day and to appreciate his wonderful contributions. And then secondly, to announce that we'll reconvene again tomorrow to continue with our lectures. That's going to be the third day. We'll be taking financial planning and basic bookkeeping tomorrow. So we expect the class to reconvene at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow as usual. We'll be starting with a pre-lecture quiz, and then before we proceed with the rest of the class. All right, on that note, let me join Mr. Inalego and thanking each and every one of you for being a part of our day, for your contributions, the questions that you've asked. And then, of course, if there are any issues, you just don't, the platform is open and you can always go ahead and make some comment. I will be posting the slides of his presentation along with the YouTube video for you to be able to revise much later. And those that were not able to be part of the class physically to be able to also refer to those documents for their own information. On that note, let me thank you immensely for being a part of our day. Mr. Inalego, I appreciate your presence today. Thank you. Look forward to seeing and working more with you.